Hi everybody, today I'm sharing the number one food to stop diarrhea fast. This is going to help you to solidify your stools and get rid of that urgency and get back to that perfect 4 on the Bristol stool chart. So it is going to be fermented raw dairy. So it's very important that it's raw and very important that it's fermented. If it's only one, it's still helpful. If it's both, it's better. So this is going to be something like a raw kefir, a raw yogurt, raw sour cream or raw cream cheese that is cultured how it normally should be. Raw milk is still beneficial. Raw cheese is still beneficial. Fermented veggies is still beneficial. But again, if you combine the raw and the fermented dairy, that's going to be the absolute best. Now, let me explain why. So the main root causes of diarrhea are one, a gut microbiome imbalance when the microbes in your gut are off and certain ones overgrow that produce this gas that actually draws more fluid to your colon and just makes everything loose and too watery and too fast moving. So if that is the case for you, you want to work on addressing your gut microbiome. Another root cause is just a foodborne illness, a sickness, an exposure to a toxin, because diarrhea is very cleansing. It gets things out of your body quick. So if you're exposed to something, especially if you ingest something like, food that is a little bit rotten or has a lot of microbes growing on it in a bad way, then your body wants to get rid of it fast, and diarrhea is an effective way to do that. So if that is the reason you have diarrhea, it will probably pass pretty fast, but still, fermented raw dairy can be helpful. It won't be harmful there. And then the third main cause is if you have like Crohn's or colitis and you have excessive damage to your gut lining. It's very common to get diarrhea. It kind of helps because your stools aren't scraping against your colon even more, but there's a lot of imbalances that cause that, gut microbiome being one of them. So if you have Crohn's or colitis, chronic diarrhea, you need to address that and heal that for sure. But the raw fermented dairy helps with a lot of these. So it helps to rebalance your gut microbiome by introducing these really good microbes that are very beneficial, and it helps to balance everything and make sure the right proportions of every microbe is growing in there. And then healing your microbiome helps to protect your gut lining as well. So it can be very helpful for healing Crohn's and colitis. And it's just very nutritious and helps give your body a lot of nutrients it needs to heal. So if dairy is hard for you to tolerate right now, which I know it is for a chunk of people with digestive issues, there's a few options. You can always start with fermented veggies. Now, Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride, who is the founder of the GAPS diet, talks about how fermented veggies are actually more helpful for people with constipation, and fermented dairy is actually more helpful for people with diarrhea. So if you can get fermented dairy, it's definitely going to be more helpful. Dairy just has this unique property that helps solidify your stools and slow things down a little bit. But if you really can't tolerate any dairy, fermented veggies is still going to be a helpful food for you. It's not going to cause more diarrhea. It will only help. But then also, some dairy is easier to tolerate. So if you can't tolerate raw kefir or raw yogurt, maybe you can tolerate raw cheese or raw butter or raw ghee. Something like that has less lactose in it can be easier to digest. So even just having some raw cheese can be very helpful if you're not quite ready. But when you are ready and you can slowly introduce that raw like yogurt or kefir, that's going to be incredible for healing your gut and for stopping diarrhea. Also, while this helps with the root cause, it can yield some pretty quick results. So it's very beneficial because you're getting that kind of quick result, but also the root cause. Now, it's not a magic cure. If you have diarrhea, you have to work on the root. But if this is kind of a fluke diarrhea that came up really quick, it'll help really quickly to have these fermented foods. If it's a chronic issue, it still likely could help you pretty darn quickly, but it's also going to be helping you work on the root cause as well. Now, a few bonus foods that can also help with diarrhea are apples and bananas can actually really help to kind of slow things down, make them a little bit more solid. And a food you definitely want to avoid is going to be rendered fat. So that's going to be like if you slow cook meat and there's like a big fat cap on the side and a lot of fat like seeped out of it. Consuming too much of that can really loosen your stools. It's great for people with constipation, and if you don't have any issues, it's an excellent healthy food, but just be mindful that that can make your stools a lot runnier. So don't go heavy on the rendered fat if you are suffering with diarrhea. Also, if you're taking a magnesium supplement, certain forms can loosen your stools, so be mindful of that. And if you want to take a magnesium supplement, magnesium glycinate is going to be a better one that shouldn't affect your stools. But if you're taking like a citrate, that's going to affect your stools quite a bit. Anyway, if you are having chronic diarrhea and you need some help addressing those root causes, if it is Crohn's or colitis, check out this video I have right here. And if it is a gut microbiome imbalance, you're getting a lot of bloating and gas and gurgling accompanying your diarrhea, check out this video I have right here.